Hi, everybody. This is Patti Negri. Thank you for joining us at the Witching Hour. I have a beautiful guest for you today. Indeed, I do. Let me introduce you to Courtney Buckley. Yes, she looks a little familiar. Yes, she does. Courtney Buckley is a New England based practicing witch, paranormal investigator, haunted tour guide, TikToker, and cast member of the Scared and Alone live stream and TV show. As the show's ghost bait, she's bravely explored some of the most haunted places in America all alone, often armed with only her K2 meter, her iPhone, and the guidance of a paranormal panel and online viewers far away in someplace safe. She was born and raised in Massachusetts. Courtney Buckley grew up in a series of haunted houses in New England. She began her interest in the paranormal. Soon, her family started joking that Courtney must have ESP because of things that she was starting to do. When she was a young child, Courtney would reply out loud to things her family members were only thinking. Anyway, from then on, let me introduce you to her directly. Thank you, Courtney, for coming on. Thank
But
you.
thank you so much for having me. This is like a dream come true. I love you so much. I'm
Ah,
so happy to be here.
oh, thank you, thank you. No, this is great. We were just talking with our producer, my producer Rob, or both of our producers on Scared and Aloneness, how, I just brought everybody together because I like people and I like hanging out. And you truly, I know you are ghost bait, and everybody's going, "What is that?" That's a good term. And I know you have a shirt and you're going to get more shirts, but
Mhm.
tell everybody about Scared and Alone a little bit from our mutual producer.
Yes, for sure. So Scared and Alone, I'm super biased when I say this, but I think is the coolest thing on the planet. It's a live interactive investigation where I go or someone else is being ghost bait, but we go to a haunted location, beautiful places. We've been really lucky, and ghost bait, me usually goes in alone entirely and does an investigation. And I only have my iPhone, and on it I have our awesome panel of paranormal peeps. We have Richard-Lael Lillard, the gentleman psychic, who does a fantastic painting over the course of 2 hours with spirits that he picks up, and then David L. Sloan, who is the doll tender for Robert the Doll, who he's super insightful and always does great research and is the one that makes me do all the really scary things. So we like to joke about that. And then we have Haley Michelle, the paranormal princess, and she with her haunted dolls, which terrify me and haunt my dreams. And then she's very intuitive as well, and she picks up on a lot of stuff. And then awesome guests. Oh, of course, Dean. I can't forget Dean, our host, who is amazing and runs the show. And then awesome guests like yourself and Todd Bonner from Detroit Paranormal. And everybody helps me sort of move along the investigation, but the coolest part, I think, is the people at home. So the people who are watching the live stream and are all picking things up and sensing things and really participating. It's not just like sitting on your couch watching your television and yelling at it like I tend to. But it's, you can yell in the comments like, hey, turn around, or hey, go back to this room, and people will read those out loud, and we'll be able to, people are actually participating in the investigation from Scared and Alone at Home, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool. I don't think I haven't seen anything else like it, and it's so exciting to be a part of.
Yeah, no, there isn't anything like it. I do a lot of TV. I do a lot of paranormal, and it's always a bunch of us at the haunting thing. There's whoever, there's a team, there's a crew, there's the investigator, the psychic, this, and then there's crew shooting. You are scared and alone. And honestly, nobody has a better scared face than you, Courtney.
Well,
No
thank
one
you.
has a better scared face than you. You
I
look
really,
terrified.
I think I need to be sponsored by like Depends or I don't know, something, because it's terrifying. There's been some times where there's been a few times where I have almost tapped out, where I've almost said, listen, this is too much and I need someone to come get me. And then other times where, we're able to, I was just scared and move past it a little bit, but it gets hairy in there sometimes, but it's so much fun. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, no, and you're beautiful at it. You're brilliant and you are there. And it is people, safe people safe at their own homes in the light are telling her, "Oh, don't turn around. There's a big monster behind you. Turn
Yeah.
around." It's,
Love that.
yeah. So tell us a bit. I love that you're a witch because this is the witching hour.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about
Hmm.
your path. How did that come about?
So I spent a lot of time, I think, sort of denying in my brain that that was the right word for me. Um, I I did a lot of work with like energy, like a lot of energy work for a really long time when I was working on like my mediumship abilities and just practicing over and over and over and over again. And no religion seemed to fit for me. And I took a demonology class, and through doing the demonology class, just because I was interested in it, but through doing the demonology class, I studied like various religions across the world and sort of started picking little pieces that felt right. But I would say I'm a Courtneyist. I'm not anything else. I'm just a Courtneyist. Like it's my little patchwork. And then I started working in Salem, so I was exposed a lot more regularly to witchcraft and what that actually meant. And then I was sort of toying around with the idea in my head. And one day I went to work and I was like really heavily thinking about it. And I was leaving. It was a different job, but a second job. I was leaving to go to Salem, and I walked out the door, and it was a big glass door, and there was a praying mantis just like perched on the door. And it took me like I didn't know what it meant really, like what the symbolism was, but it was enough for me to stop and look at it and be like, I've never seen a praying mantis in my life. What was I just thinking about? And I had just been thinking about like, is this right for me? And I thought, you know what, that's it. So I went into Salem that day and I spent a lot of money and I got all the things. And I was just like, that's it. And I just started yelling, I'm a witch. It's me. That's what I am. And I've moved forward with it ever since. I'm a very weird practice. Like I call myself a bad witch, not like evil, but in the sense of like I don't practice things like other people do. Like I have an altar, but it's in my closet because I had to move it and I never took it back out. Um, but I have all my things that my crystals I like to work with and candles and all that. But I usually only do it when I'm trying to do something, and it's more an internal thing for me than it is an external thing. If that makes sense, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, well, that's
Yeah,
the one thing about our belief system too. It's not a my way or the highway, like some religions, that this is it and that's it, or you're wrong, or
yeah,
you're going to hell or whatever. To There's a billion kinds of witches. There's
right.
there's spirit-based witches, there's elemental witches, there's Wicca, there's Thelemic, there's chaos, there's
Yeah.
traditional
And
British.
I think for
Yeah.
me, I read the first book I picked up. I forget who it was by, but it was something about Wicca for the solitary practitioner. And I
Hmm.
opened it up, and I didn't Wicca didn't fit with me, but when I opened it up, one of the first things the book said was, "This is about you, and like this is very personal. Witchcraft is very personal, and it's your journey, and it's your craft, and it's your this that." So I've never once doubted my abilities. I've never once doubted my spirituality once I accepted this in myself. And I can feel sometimes
Yeah.
very powerful, but it took me someone validating that for me to really fully accept it, that it was okay to make this my own. And I think that that was what I had been searching for a really long time.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Yeah, we are led to it. It's not that it's a proselytizing thing. Whatever you want to believe, you get to believe, but those of us led to it. And it's probably in your blood too. I do believe there's like blood wine, which is if you kind of always known things. I was reading in your bio, your parent, like I just read that in your bio, your
Yeah.
parents knew things. I was the same way with plants and herbs and stuffing them in the weirdest places, knowing what they would do. I hadn't read a book yet. It's in the blood.
Yeah, it was actually my grandmother. I mean, I think it made a difference that I grew up in a way that nobody stifled anything. Nobody told me that ghosts weren't real or anything like that. So I was free to just grow that way. But when I was a little tiny kid, my grandmother, who I think worked her magic in the kitchen, um, she would be cooking at the stove, and I would be sitting at the kitchen table coloring or doing whatever. And I mean, I'm little, and she would be just stirring whatever she's cooking and in her brain going over her day and thinking, oh, I don't know where I put that letter. And I wouldn't look up from my paper and I'd say, it's on the hall table. And she would be like and I just wasn't, it became a joke. Like they didn't try to say, oh, that's weird, don't do that. It was like, oh boy, here's Courtney and her ESP again. And I still to this day constantly I will call my mother, and my mother will say, "Oh my God, it's so weird. I literally was just texting you, or I was just picking up the phone to call you, or I was just thinking about you." And it's always me. I'm always the one that does it.
So how does that work? So how do okay, so we get that. You've seen spirits and you have this gift and you're definitely gifted. I can just sense, I can see all that. So how did the interesting ghosts come about? The whole
So
paranormal thing.
yeah, I grew up in haunted houses. So again, not nobody made a big deal out of anything. It was never anything dangerous. It was just a presence in the house. So I was always, I think, interested in it. And then I watched Ghost Hunters. And when Ghost Hunters came on, it was the only show like that. And all of a sudden, it was like, this is it. Like like it's okay. This is okay to be, it's not weird, it's cool, like I can follow my passion with this. So when I was a teenager, instead of going out and drinking and causing trouble, I was trespassing and breaking and entering at various cemeteries and abandoned mental institutions. But the thing is like, when you get a piece of evidence, like it's almost like you're chasing a high. Like my first EVP I ever got was at a cemetery, and it was so crisp and so clear, and it was the first time I'd ever used a voice recorder. And I feel like I've been chasing that high ever since. Like I can still be skeptical, I can still be logical, and I can still try to debunk things, but I know these things exist because I've experienced them. And so it's just a matter of like wanting that next piece of evidence, and that drive to, like, I don't know, bring that to people, bring that to other people.
Yeah.
So it's always been something. It's always been there. I've joined a couple groups, which I didn't really gel with correctly. So like they did things a little bit differently than I felt like I would want to do things. So those didn't sort of pan out for very long. But um, I just these things keep happening to me. I move into a haunted house, or I start working and my workplace is haunted, and it's just everywhere. So it's hard not to let it be one of my obsessions.
That is good. Now, do you have, because I'm a big of having an on-off switch. I don't want to see ghosts when I don't want to see ghosts and spirits.
Hmm.
Do you have your own version of an on-off switch or something that you can keep
Yeah,
saying?
I think because I did a lot of energy work before I did anything else, I think I did that correctly in the sense that I trust my energy and what I put out and what I take in. So it's a literal on off switch. So when I go into one of these haunted places, everyone says like do your protection, whatever. My protection is in my brain. I'm setting a boundary just real quick. It's like a switch. I'm setting a boundary and you're not allowed. And or at least just like you can't come home with me. You can't do anything like that. And I feel like I have that boundary in my house now that I've learned how to do that, because I don't need to be woken up anymore. Like I'm older now. Like you don't need to be in my house or in my space. You can be outside. And as a matter of fact, actually weirdly, I think something tried to get into my house last night. Now that I'm talking about this. But I had like a waking, like I was awake but I couldn't move kind of a dream, and I was asleep in my living room. I had gone to sleep with massive anxiety that I was coming from nothing, and I woke up and I couldn't move, and I watched my front door just open like this, and I was like, "Shut the door! You're not allowed in my house. Shut the door! Shut the door!" And I couldn't get up to shut the door, and then I fell back asleep. And when I woke up, I was like, "I feel like something tried to get in my house." Like, but
Probably did. So
I
yeah,
but I set those boundaries, like, get out. No, thank you.
and and that's what people don't know. I teach that in my school, that this is our realm of existence. They really do have to play by our rules. People
Yeah,
just don't know that, so they give away their power. They're like, ah, and that's what
yeah.
something negative would want. Get angry, get scared.
Hmm.
Just exactly it. Nope, close the door. You can't come in. That's
Right.
exactly the best thing you could do.
And I
So
learned that massively the hard way. I was at Salem State. I did a semester at Salem State, and we were playing with a Ouija board, and I didn't know anything about anything. And I actually gave permission for a spirit to enter me and show me things. And it showed me itself as a little boy with red hair, cute as a button. But when he showed himself to me, he showed himself to me at my home, not at school, but at my home. And very quickly I got very uneasy and I didn't like it, and I sort of just like shut it down, but it was already too late. and my brother and my mother started experiencing things at home while I was at school. And then when I came home, it was like we wouldn't be in the house with the lights off. Not neither myself or my
Wow.
brother could be in the house with the lights off. Doors, cabinets in the kitchen would open and close. You would just get the sense that like someone was just gonna come into the room. And when we finally moved out and left, there was like this very smug feeling. And I was in the empty apartment. I said, "Are you happy we're leaving now?" And the drain gurgled like someone was pouring water on it, like in response to me. And I was like, okay. But it was awful. It was really scary. And I learned, like I said, I learned the hard way. I'm not afraid to use a Ouija board anymore because I know what to do now, but I had to do it the wrong way first.
Yeah, no, and everybody does. I've been safely using them since I was 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be sold in toy stores. I think they should have a completely opposite set of directions. Not this is not a toy.
Yeah.
It's a tool. It's a portal. It's really no more scary than a K2 meter or a
Right.
pendulum or dowsing rods or all those things we use. They're communication tools, but they
Hmm.
are portals and we create it. So just know what you're doing and then do it. I've
Right.
forgotten to do it right on occasion with, bad results, but then my fault, my complete fault. You got to suit up before you went in.
Right. And it's just a matter of like having that hard and fast rule for me at least that it's a boundary that I set, and there's no question to it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I set that boundary and you have to follow it. And I have the intention behind it because I believe that I have the ability to set that boundary, and I believe in the boundary. So I feel like for me that makes me feel very safe, especially going into places that I don't know, like we do on Scared and Alone, that I've never been before. I Before I go in, set that boundary, like I'm going to come in and talk to you, but you're not allowed to come with me. And then we have, usually Richard-Lael will do like a breathing exercise with us at the end to sort of cleanse things, which helps
Mhm.
bring me back into myself and that boundary before I leave, that I can just sort of get everything away. But it's really just a matter of believing in yourself and what you can do, and that you are the power in that situation.
Yep, 100%, 100%. And then always carry salt with you to
Oh, good
ground,
point.
just to ground, to eat salt.
Yeah.
I don't mean like, oh, I'm gonna sprinkle it around and get all the ghosts out of the house. To me, the best thing is just eat something salty and ground. Touch iron if you can iron the iron rail on the stairwell, a
Yep.
little lodestone, your cauldron.
Hmm.
It'll bring you back because you got to separate the two worlds.
Yeah, I have bracelets that I wear that were sent to me by a viewer, a fan of the show, and I wear them every investigation, and they are my thing at the end, that I fiddle with them and I concentrate on them, and I sort of like get back into myself and leave everything safely haunting the owners of the house and not me.
Yeah, you stay here. I'm going home. That's good. Yeah, I do some bracelet stuff too. Rob Thompson, on Paraflex, on Ghost Center show, he works with Daniel. He always has which side of the bracelet he wears if he wants to have his gift on or he wants to have his gift off. I
Hmm.
think we all have different kinds of on-off switches. So,
Yeah.
um, so just saying, I see that we have a guest with us in the show. Tell us who's behind you right now. Actually, there's kind
Oh,
of two, but
yep.
yeah.
So this is Henry. So one of my favorite things, and he's not real, he's plastic. I got him at CVS, so don't get excited. But Henry is my all the time decoration because that's my aesthetic. But I collect ethically sourced human remains, so he fits in with my vibe real well. And then behind him, I have, oh, sorry, Henry.
He's down.
Um,
Henry's down.
This is the painting that Richard-Lael did for the episode of Scared and Alone that we did at the Proctor House. And I'm holding it. It's living here for the time being until the Proctor House residents are back for a good chunk of time. And then they're going to take it into the house and see how it likes its new home. Um, but it's just stunning. And I have it in this room with me because, I like to look at it, and it makes me feel happy. And Richard-Lael's paintings are so incredible that I like in person though, Patty, like you can't you when you see them on the screen, they're incredible, but in person you can feel, like I feel looking at this how I felt that night in the Proctor House. And he gifted me another one from Middleborough Town Hall when we did that episode. There was a little
Mhm.
girl who had fallen from the balcony, and he painted her. And I can't look at that one without crying because I feel her every time I look at it. And then I also have his drawings from when we did the Deal Marcus Manor, and there's some of them that terrify me because, again, like he just, it's like he captures the spirits and puts them on the canvas or the paper, and when I look at them, I feel it all over again. It's the craziest thing. But
Yeah,
anyway,
no,
I love this
he's an
one.
artist in the truest sense, as well as being a gifted psychic medium
Right.
and magical dude all around.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite people. One of the houses that I the first one that I think that we all started coming together was last year at the world's greatest ghost hunt thing, and I was at the
Hmm.
Wheeler Revival Mansion, which is one of my favorite houses. I have an event coming up there, a very witchy event, in September, I think, with Sal Santoro, and we're doing a whole Hecate weekend. I went last year, and I'm gonna be one of the presenters this year, but I learned so much. It's great. We're all a bunch of witchy people tromping through the graveyard, how to correctly get graveyard dust and things. So did you do the Scared and Alone at the Wheeler Revival Mansion?
I did, but I need to go back for a second because I don't live that far from there, and I might need to come to this event in September
Yes.
because this sounds like
Yes.
just my cup of tea. Um, but
It's so wonderful.
it sounds amazing. But yeah, we did our very first official episode of Scared and Alone. So Ghost Hunting Day, we were at the Proctor House, but our first episode of Scared and Alone was at the Revival Wheeler Mansion, and it was gorgeous, but crazy, especially to be there alone. It was insane. I had so many different experiences in there. That was the first time that David made me do something crazy. Uh, Everyone was afraid of the stairs. I thought the stairs were gorgeous and I loved them, but everyone was like, I did get a little like nervous tingle when I went near them, and everyone in the comments was telling me that they felt like somebody had fallen down the stairs at one point, or something was going on with the stairs. So when we got down to the first floor, David said everyone thinks that someone fell down the stairs. You should lay down like you fell. So me and my body are now halfway up and down the stair, my legs up in the air, I'm laying on the ground, and he's like, okay, now yell for help. And so I screamed help, and simultaneously, as I'm looking up, because you know how at the bottom of the stairs you can see all the way up to the third floor
Yeah.
there. So I'm laying down and I'm facing up. I scream for help, and I see a head peek over like the railing like this, like looking down at me. And I was like, oh my god. And then at the same time, the oh my goodness, why can't I remember her name?
Cindy? No.
Cindy, yes, was in a different, like a whole separate area of the property, and she lost internet at the exact same time that I screamed for help. That her internet connection went. So it was just a weird, like there was so much going on there. That's one small piece of it, but what a beautiful house. Have you been keeping up with it on Instagram and
Uh,
seen like
yeah,
the improvements?
yes, room by room. It is
I
the most
know.
beautiful. One carved pole is like more beautiful woodwork than they would put in like a 40 out, apartment complex
I
here.
know.
The beautiful workmanship. Plus the house has a really good history. And
Yeah.
when it was a home for like ladies of the Eastern Star, which were Masonic ladies, so it's always
Yep.
had this magical thing. And
Hmm.
if you've got to come to this thing that we're doing with Sal, with Jeff. It's amazing, and we do some amazing magic and ritual, and it couldn't be in a better place. So,
I would love to come.
yes, yes, yes.
I
Okay,
need to learn
we'll
how to
exchange.
harvest grave dirt.
Yeah. Yes, there is very specific ways, and
Hmm.
how to where to go to grave, and it's common sensey as most of our path stuff do. Is like you have to ask permission, of course. You have to give an offering, of course. You're giving coins, but think about this is the easiest one that I had never thought about. I've worked with graveyard dirt a lot and coffin nails and things. It's just what we do.
Hmm.
But like, say if you're doing a protection spell, Jeff, go to the grave of somebody who was a policeman or a warrior. Oh, that makes sense. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're doing a love spell of some sort, go to a place where you see a couple married, they were happily married 72 years and you see them all. It's like, yeah, that's the dirt you want. Ask them permission. It's like, I just learned so much. We're tromping around. So yeah, yeah, it's just the most amazing weekend. I will be posting it for all who want to come join us, and it will be great. It's on my emails that I send out and things like that too. So, Yeah, so you're somewhere near that. It's a beautiful area, by the way. It's
It's,
beautiful.
oh my God, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Yeah. And the mansion is incredible. And I am dying to go back and see it after all the work that, because she does that all herself, like
I know.
all of it by herself. And
It's women living there,
yeah.
just women. Well, one of my best friends, actually one of my circle sisters, my Coven sisters lives there, and Cindy lives there, and a kid,
Mhm.
and it's
Yep.
amazing.
I've met them all and I love them all dearly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would love to go back and see them and see the mansion and learn how to get grave dirt
Yeah.
and among
Alright.
other witchy things.
And among ritual and magic and spell casting and
Mm,
all sorts of great stuff.
yeah, I love that.
Okay, well, before we go, so how tell people about where they can find you, your social media, where they can find Scared and Alone, what you might have coming up with
Sure.
that.
All right, so Scared and Alone, or I'll start with me. My socials, I am at the Femes on everything. Um, Femes is short for femur because that is my favorite piece of ethically sourced human remains that I own. There he is. So I am on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. Those are Instagram, TikTok are probably the best places to follow along for show material. I'm also starting to do. I haven't started yet, but I'm starting soon to do Twitch. Because there's a ghost hunting game. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's exactly like real life ghost hunting, except the ghosts can kill you in this game. Um, but I thought that would be fun for viewers who who watch the show to come and either watch or play with me if they have it. But on there, but I'm the themes over everything. And then Scared and Alone, you can find on YouTube and Facebook and www.scaredandalone.com.
Yeah. You guys,
And you
it
can,
really is a fun, amazing show. You will be there with Courtney. You will be there. You'll be at your house doing whatever you want to do, lights on, lights off, whatever. But you will experience, just like she experienced what Richard-Lael does into the art, you will be experiencing it. And all the little, the comment, all the little commenters from the comment section is really fun. So join us. So thank you so much, Courtney. I look forward. I want to meet you. I want you to come to this thing so
I
we could actually meet
I know.
non-virtually for the first time. Would be great.
I will absolutely come. I'm gonna, how do I sign up for your newsletter? Because I want to know.
PattiNegri.com. Just go to
Perfect.
PattiNegri.com and sign up for my newsletter, and I will send it. And I will start. I need to reproduce thing. Um,
I'm so excited. And thank you for inviting me on your show. I'm a big fan. And so I'm trying not to fangirl right now and be calm, but inside I'm like, Patti. Oh, there's Patti.
It's okay. I do that all the time. I just did that with Katrina Weidman, who's
Oh,
doing my show too, just in my
yep.
show. I did it with Josh Gates because I just love
Oh
Josh
my
Gates
goodness. I love
on.
him.
I did too. We were there. We were doing the 4-hour special of Ghost Adventures, and everybody was there. I mean, all the best of the best. Gary Galka and all the inventors, and everybody was there. But Josh Gates, hold it, I totally fangirl. We like
I would have been,
fangirling. It's
listen,
allowed.
I would have been on the ground, honestly. I
Yeah.
fangirl. I don't know how I function, if I can be honest, with all of the panelists that we have on Scared and Alone, how I can just look at them and talk to them like they're normal people, because inside I'm like, oh my God, these are the coolest people on the planet. And why are they talking to me?
Yeah, we'll get
I'm still
over
not
that
over
because
it.
why would they not talk to you?
I'm
So,
still not over it. I don't understand. I'm still not over it.
yeah, it's a cute. And you have Haley Michelle. Haley Michelle on the show, Paranormal
Mhm.
Princess. I met her years ago. She wanted to come do. I was doing a thing at the murder house, and she wanted to get on it, but they wouldn't bring her out, and we became friends. So all these little. It's like little octopus legs of how we all came together to create this one big spooky family.
Listen, it's all that witchy manifestation that you do.
That's what
It's
we
all,
do.
yeah.
We create our lives. You've created an amazing life. I'm creating an amazing life. Everybody else can. So you guys check her out. Courtney Buckley. Why is the femur your favorite bone?
So it was, I have a lot of bones, but it was the one that I went in and I was just like, I need a femur because it's awesome and really cool, and also you can like use it as a weapon, because why wouldn't you? But everything else, like I have a humerus, which is cool because I got this so that I could make the joke, well, isn't that humorous? And I have some vertebrae and a rib and a clavicle. Oh, this is my other favorite. This is I don't know if you can see it. This is the
Yeah.
brain.
Wow. This is spooky good. Do you know
But
what is the biggest bone in the human body? Is it the femur or the
it
humerus?
might be, I think it's the femur, but I think just for me it was like it was the first one that I gravitated towards, so it was the one that started my collection, and so it's just held a special place in my heart. I used to do a true crime podcast because I'm really into true crime, and I had to come up with a name that wasn't my name. And so I had just gotten the femur, and so we were like, oh, the themes, like, whatever, and it just stuck. I love it, and it's now
Very good.
my online persona, and I love my
Good.
femur.
So everybody go check out the themes. Thank you so much, Courtney. Thank you for visiting the Witching Hour.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Yay. I'll see you soon. And
Of
on
course.
Scared and Alone. I want to come play with you on Scared and Alone again soon too.
Please do. That was so much fun when you came on.